They survived 1.9 million years. So, why did they still go extinct? In our previous videos, we discussed Homo habilis, Homo neanderthalensis, and Homo sapiens. You can watch those videos after this one. But today, it's time to talk about Homo erectus. These guys were arguably the most successful humans who ever lived, and their story will blow your mind. Welcome to the channel. Homo erectus appeared on the scene around 1.9 million years ago in Africa. At this point in prehistory, there were already several different species of Australopithecus walking around. But unlike those knuckle-walking weirdos, Homo erectus could walk fully upright onto legs. They also had larger brains, more sophisticated behaviors, and more human-like bodies. In fact, they were the first human species to do any of these things. 1. Use fire regularly. 2. Create advanced tools called Achillean hand axes. And 3. Leave Africa and colonize parts of Asia and Europe. In other words, they were the first humans to really spread out across the world. So let's get into the story of Homo erectus, the longest living human species. From brain size to body size, Homo erectus was pretty similar to us. They stood about 5 feet, 6 inches tall, which is 168 centimeters. That's only 2 centimeters shorter than the average male in the Netherlands, the tallest country on Earth. And they weighed around 110 pounds or 50 kilograms, not too shabby. Their brains were also pretty big, expanding to 85% of modern human brain size. By comparison, Homo habilis only had 60% of our brain capacity. They also looked pretty much like us. Their skulls were definitely more long and low than ours, with bigger brow ridges and smaller teeth. But overall, they sorta resembled modern humans, except maybe a little bit more ape-like. However, compared to the other human species of their time, like the Neanderthals and the Denisovans, Homo erectus probably looked relatively normal. The Neanderthals, for example, had massive, almost gorilla-like skulls with huge brow ridges, prominent noses, and huge bodies built for cold climates. Meanwhile, the Denisovans likely resembled a mix between Homo sapiens and Neanderthals. Still, looks aren't everything. So let's dive deeper into the life of Homo erectus. Homo erectus was the first human species to truly master the art of survival. They spread far and wide, leaving behind fossil evidence from as far east as Georgia and as far west as Indonesia. Their range encompassed much of Eurasia, including the Arabian Peninsula, India, China, and Southeast Asia. During their heyday, around 500,000 years ago, Homo erectus populations could be found as far north as Western and Southern Europe and as far south as Northern Africa and the island of Java. Due to their large brains and inventive spirit, Homo erectus built shelters, hunted in groups, crafted spears, and most impressively, created incredible stone tools. These tools are known as Achillean hand axes. They date back to about 1.7 million years ago and were used for chopping, scraping, cutting, stabbing, and smashing. This was quite an upgrade from the simple pebble tools used by Homo habilis, and it helped Homo erectus thrive in various environments, from hot tropical forests to cold European winters. But how exactly did Homo erectus fare in these diverse environments? Well, their skeletal remains give us some clues. Compared to earlier hominins, Homo erectus bones show clear signs of having stood and walked upright for extended periods. Their spinal curves were more pronounced, their shoulders were more angled, and their pelvises were more bowl-shaped. These features, along with their longer legs and ability to control their feet, meant that Homo erectus could easily cover long distances on foot. They also had smaller, more delicate hands and feet than earlier species, suggesting they spent less time climbing trees. These adaptations made Homo erectus perfectly suited for life on the savanna. The archaeological record also paints a picture of a highly adaptable species. Homo erectus sites contain a wide variety of animal bones, indicating they had a diverse diet. They hunted large mammals like bison, elephants, and hippos, as well as smaller prey like deer, antelopes, and wild dogs. They also consumed shellfish, birds, and fish. Basically, they were up for anything except maybe bugs. It seems like Homo erectus wasn't picky when it came to food, which helped them survive in different environments. This adaptability was key to their success. While Homo erectus thrived across Eurasia, their impact on the landscape was equally significant. As skilled hunters and tool makers, they altered ecosystems by controlling animal populations and exploiting new food sources. For example, evidence suggests that Homo erectus overhunted some species, leading to local extinctions. In Africa, they competed with other predators, including hyenas, for access to carcasses. And in Europe, they likely played a role in shaping the environment during the Middle Paleolithic period. Overall, Homo erectus had a profound impact on the world around them, leaving their mark on both the natural and archaeological landscapes. So what went wrong? Despite their many accomplishments, Homo erectus eventually disappeared from the fossil record around 117,000 years ago. So what caused their downfall? There are four main theories. First, cognitive limitations. Homo erectus may have reached a cognitive plateau, meaning they didn't develop more advanced thinking abilities. Meanwhile, Homo sapiens continued to evolve rapidly, developing complex language, abstract thinking, and the ability to innovate quickly. Some scientists believe that Homo erectus's inability to keep up with Homo sapiens's cognitive advancements contributed to their decline. Second, environmental pressure. Climate change is always happening, as we know, and sometimes it happens super fast. Perhaps Homo erectus simply couldn't adapt quickly enough to the changing environment. For example, during the Middle Paleolithic period, there was a significant shift in climate across Eurasia. Temperatures fluctuated greatly, leading to drier conditions in some areas and the expansion of grasslands. This could have put pressure on Homo erectus populations, especially those in Europe. As temperatures dropped, Homo erectus might have struggled to find sufficient food and shelter, ultimately contributing to their decline. Third, competition. Homo erectus faced competition from other hominin species like Homo sapiens and Neanderthals. Both species had larger brains, more advanced tool technologies, and possibly more sophisticated social structures. Homo sapiens, for example, developed more efficient hunting techniques, which may have given them an advantage over Homo erectus in acquiring resources. Additionally, Homo sapiens were known to migrate into new territories, sometimes displacing or competing with Homo erectus for limited resources. The Neanderthals also played a role in this competition, as they were known to have migrated out of Africa and into Europe, where they coexisted with Homo erectus for hundreds of thousands of years. It's possible that the Neanderthals, with their larger bodies and specialized tools, outcompeted Homo erectus for resources, contributing to their decline. Fourth, lack of innovation. Homo erectus didn't significantly improve their tools over time. Their stone tools remained relatively the same for almost 1,000,000 years, with later versions only showing minor differences. This lack of innovation have put them at a disadvantage compared to more advanced tool technologies developed by other hominin species, such as the spear thrower and the bow and arrow. The spear thrower, also known as an atlatl, was a tool used for hunting and allowed early humans to throw spears with greater force and accuracy. Its invention is believed to have occurred around 14,000 years ago, although some researchers suggest it might have been earlier. On the other hand, the bow and arrow is generally considered to have been invented later, with evidence pointing to a time frame of around 60,000 to 10,000 years ago. However, there is ongoing debate about the exact timeline and location of its invention. While the bow and arrow might seem more sophisticated, both tools offered advantages over earlier forms of projectile weapons and could have been effective hunting tools. It's worth noting that the spear thrower required skill and practice to use effectively, as did the bow and arrow. The adoption and use of these technologies would have depended on various factors, including the availability of materials, the necessity for hunting, and the cultural practices of the communities employing them. Ultimately, the extinction of Homo erectus is likely due to a combination of factors rather than a single cause. Their cognitive limitations, environmental pressures, competition with other hominins, and lack of significant tool innovation may have all played a role in their eventual disappearance. Finally, the last known Erectus population lived in Ngandone, Indonesia around 117,000 years ago. Some experts think their extinction was caused by rising sea levels that cut them off from the rest of the Homo erectus populations. Others argue that it was a slow fade into silence, a gradual disappearance that occurred over many millennia. Regardless, the story of Homo erectus serves as a reminder that even the strongest species can fall if they stop evolving. In a way, Homo erectus was a blueprint for us, a roadmap to what works and what doesn't work in the grand scheme of evolution. They mastered the art of survival, conquering new environments and developing innovative tools. Yet they fell short when it came to adapting to the ever-changing world around them. Their fate is a cautionary tale urging us to constantly learn, adapt, and innovate to secure our place in the tapestry of life. Thanks for watching. When you're faced with challenges in life, remember the story of Homo erectus. Keep learning, keep innovating, and never stop adapting. After all, it's the only way to ensure that your species doesn't end up as a footnote in history.